All right, welcome. Today we're going to have kind of a short discussion on target audience. And audience is simply, as a graphic designer, who are you trying to deliver your message to? We already talked about message and how you have that brand message. You've defined it, but now you have to think a little bit about who you're delivering it to. Try to think about them in smaller groups. I know most small businesses start off and someone opens a shop down the road. It's a sewing shop, or it's an accounting firm, or it's a retail store selling things, automotive shop. And usually when you ask them, who's your target audience, who are you going after, they'll just say, well, everyone. We don't want to leave anybody out. But one of the difficulties with that is that the way you attract a certain chunk of the population isn't always the same as you attract another chunk of the population. So sometimes the message is important, and sometimes a company will say, I'm just going to go with my brand. Let's just say Subway wants to sell sub sandwiches, or auto mechanic, they want to sell auto maintenance services and stuff like that. That won't change, but how you deliver it to your different audiences might change. So the type of media that you choose may really impact your message. For example, if I'm a large national retailer and I want to kind of connect with the older generation, our senior citizens, maybe they're 60, 70 years, 80 years and older, they might still watch the nightly news. They might tune in at 6 o'clock every night, and that's where I want to put some of my advertising. They may watch some shows on TV, regular television, network TV, that younger people don't watch. Now, if I wanted to deliver another or the same message to, excuse me, the same message to a much younger audience, maybe a 20-something. There I'm probably going to do something more with social media, and or I might still advertise at the local shopping mall. They might still go there to hang out. So you have to deliver a message to them through the media that they watch or that they consume, in addition to saying, I'm going to tailor my message to something that they understand. So cultural references, for example. You might be referencing something from a show or a younger audience that they watch, they devour, something from popular culture that an older person, like myself in my late 40s, or someone in their 70s, may have no clue what you're talking about. So you have to think about this. A lot of advertisements focused at certain audiences will use celebrities to kind of cater to them and use that bandwagon approach. Like, hey, if this product is endorsed by this celebrity, it must be good. Well, you have to make sure that your target audience knows who that celebrity is. I'm probably not going to use a 70, 80-year-old actor to try to draw a 20-something crowd. That could happen, but most often it wouldn't. You'd want to pick someone from kind of the cachet of who they're used to. So thinking about this, I would try to focus your message and say, I want to choose maybe this 10 or 20-year group of people that are maybe 30 to 50, or you might want to choose just somebody who is 15 to 30 years old or in their 20s, and say, let's create a message for them. And then let's create a message for someone who's a little bit older, maybe 50 to 60, and target it that way. So things to consider when you kind of define your audience. A lot of my students and a lot of marketers, when they start out, they will say, I'm going to really focus on people in my own age group because you understand them, you know what's cool, you know what someone likes, you know what kind of products they like. But what are you going to do when you get to have to advertise to someone or create design work for someone who is 30, 40 years older than you? Well, you'll most likely just have to look at some research. Hopefully your company will get that. Or you can go out and talk to people that are this age yourself. You can also look at other advertising and say, what are other companies doing to advertise to this age group? if you're ever wondering if an advertisement is or who they're targeting, you can simply just look at the people in the advertisement. Usually it's a mirror reflection. If you see an ad and there's a bunch of 70-year-olds in there, they're probably going for 70-year-olds. So think about how your audience, back to when you define your target audience, how does your audience feel about your products, your service? What kind of beliefs do they have regarding that? Do they believe in using natural products? Do they believe in using products that recycle? Do they believe in a company that it shows good stewardship toward the environment? So do they back social causes? So think about how your audience perceives your product, your service, your idea. Think about how they use it. Do you have a lot of people that are traveling across the country with their kids because that's where they are in life? And do they use all your food products on the go so they can't have anything fresh? So think about how that would fit into your advertising to say, you need these products on the go. This is how our product fits into your lifestyle. Where do they live? I think location is a big deciding factor when thinking about your audience. If I'm marketing snow shovels, they probably won't have a huge market for them in Florida because they don't get a ton of snow. But how would I market the same thing in a northern climate? What will be the advantages of that product? Do they have pets? How educated are they? How old are they is a big one. Do they have strong beliefs? And again, what are they passionate about? Hobbies and interests. You can also, to some extent, look at their generational affiliation. So if I'm a Generation X, there are some assumptions that are probably true about my generation. We were kind of raised as latchkey kids. Our parents might not have been around as much. Again, this isn't everyone, but they've talked to enough Generation Xers. We were born between 1970, 1980, 65, maybe to 80. They've talked to enough of us to find out that, wow, there are some similarities that these people from this generation share. A lot of us don't care for authority. We like to do things on our own, and we don't like to do things in large groups and listen to a whole bunch of bureaucracy. Now, you might be thinking that, most people don't like that stuff. But that's not really true. There are some generations that say, we like doing things in a group. We like teaming up. We like to work for someone who makes a lot of the decisions. So while nothing fits everyone perfectly, there are some generational characteristics. One of the big things that is a generational characteristic is where we get our media. So if you're designing something and you're saying, well, how will I reach this certain audience? Go back to what we talked about at the start of this video. The nightly news might be a way to reach an older audience, senior citizens, but you're not going to reach many 20-somethings because they're not sitting there watching the news. They're on an app or a website or social media, or some of them are watching late-night TV, but they're watching it not at late-night TV times. They're watching it streamed through replays. So these generational characteristics are helpful. I would try all of them and think about, what does my audience like? Try to talk to as many of them as you can, or get research from people or companies that have talked to them. That's really the only way we get to know what people like. You can look at sales reports and you can look at what product is trending, and that is helpful. But to truly get to know your target audience, you really have to get out and talk with them. General Motors a couple years ago did a kind of a cool project where they gave groups of 20-something, early 20-something-year-olds a bunch of video cameras and said, take these video cameras and record your daily lives with your friends, your interactions with all the people and places that you go for like a week or so. And then they got all of these cameras back, and they had this kind of cool video snapshot into the lives of their future target markets, people that were graduating college, just getting their first job, and starting to think about probably buying their first car and hopefully a new car. So they looked at all of this, and that just gave them a pretty cool insight into what they were up against as far as, how do we reach these people? What's important to them? What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? What are their beliefs? What are their, how do they interact with their friends and the world around them? So they just got to know their target audience. Okay, so again, you have a message to deliver to a target audience, and you are in the middle as a visual communicator. It's good to know both of these. All right, thank you.